Frustrated. I'm a doctor. I work here. I'm literally wearing my hospital ID.
Buddy, at this point I don't care. You are coming with me.
Is it because I'm black? That's why you don't care to even check my badge?
Maybe. Go ahead and slowly turn around and put your hands behind your back.
So you're arresting a doctor in his own workplace without confirming anything.
If you keep talking, I'll add resistance.
Officer Rebecca Stanton had 6 years with the Seattle Police Department, but only 3 of those years on active patrol duty. She was known for what colleagues called hypervigilance in hospital settings, particularly responding to calls involving theft or impersonation. One Wednesday evening at Harborview Medical Center, her inability to see past racial bias would cost the city $2.4 million and destroy her career in law enforcement. A black man in his late 30s, Dr. Bennett, was simply walking through the hospital corridor toward the emergency department where he worked. He was wearing navy blue scrubs, a white coat with his name embroidered on it, and his hospital identification badge clipped visibly to his chest. No crime, no emergency, no suspicious behavior, just a doctor heading to his shift. But Officer Stanton saw him and made an instant judgment rooted in prejudice. She believed a black man in medical attire must be impersonating a doctor. That false assumption triggered a confrontation that would include a physical detention in front of patients and staff, a humiliating perp walk through the hospital, and a federal lawsuit that would expose how racial bias operates even in professional settings with clear identification. Before we continue, where are you watching from? If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Stories like these need to be shared, and your support helps us bring more truth to light. Harborview Medical Center, a major medical center in the heart of the city where hundreds of staff members move through corridors 24 hours a day. White coats and scrubs are the uniform, where identification badges are mandatory and visible. It was 6:45 on a Wednesday evening. The shift change was underway. The hallways were busy with nurses, doctors, technicians, and support staff moving between departments. Dr. Bennett had been an attending emergency medicine physician at Harborview Medical Center for 9 years. 9 years treating everything from cardiac arrests to trauma cases. He'd supervised residents, published research, and been nominated twice for the hospital's Excellence in Patient Care Award. His colleagues trusted him. His patients praised him. That evening, he was simply thinking about the backlog of patients waiting in the ER. Andre had parked in the staff garage, walked through the Skybridge connector, and was making his way down the main corridor toward the emergency department. He wore his standard work attire, navy scrubs, white coat, stethoscope around his neck, his hospital ID badge clipped prominently to his chest, showing his photo, name, and department clearly: emergency medicine, attending physician. He nodded at nurses he recognized, waved at a resident he'd mentored. He was exactly where he belonged. But to Officer Rebecca Stanton, none of that registered. Rebecca Stanton had been with the Seattle Police Department for 6 years, but was known for her tendency to escalate minor situations. In 3 years on patrol, Stanton had generated 7 complaints. 5 of them involved people of color stopped or detained in professional settings where they clearly belonged: an attorney at a courthouse, a chef in his own restaurant, a doctor in a parking garage. Every complaint had been closed with the familiar language: officer acted within discretion. Stanton attended the trainings, checked the boxes, and then continued seeing criminality in professional spaces. That Wednesday evening, Stanton was assigned to a hospital patrol detail. She had been walking through the main corridor when a nurse mentioned to her that she'd seen someone she didn't recognize near the medication storage area earlier.
"Black guy, scrubs," the nurse said. "Maybe I'm being paranoid." Stanton's immediate response: "Better safe than sorry." And there it was, the seed planted. When Stanton saw Andre walking down the corridor moments later, her mind filled in the rest. Black man, scrubs, might be impersonating staff, need to investigate. Never mind that Andre's ID was visible. Never mind that he was greeting staff, moving with confidence. Stanton saw what she'd been conditioned to see: a black man who needed to be verified. She walked quickly to catch up with him. "Do you think hospitals need specific protocols to prevent staff from being racially profiled by security? Drop your answer below." Andre was almost to the emergency department entrance when he heard footsteps behind him and a voice calling out, "Sir, excuse me, sir." He turned, assuming someone needed medical help. "What's the emergency?" he asked. Stanton approached, her hand resting near her duty belt. "I need to see some identification." Andre gestured to his chest, where his badge was prominently displayed. "My hospital ID is right here," he said. "Dr. Andre Bennett, emergency medicine." Stanton barely glanced at it. "I need to see a driver's license or state ID." Andre felt the familiar weight of frustration. "Can I ask what this is about? I'm heading to my shift." "We've had reports of unauthorized individuals in the hospital. I need to verify who you are." Andre pulled out his wallet slowly. He extracted his driver's license and medical license and held them out. "Here, driver's license, medical license, hospital ID badge, all with my name and photo. Now can I go do my job?" Stanton took them, examined them with clear skepticism, then looked back at him. These could be fake. Andre stared at her in disbelief. "Fake? You think someone created fake medical licenses and hospital IDs just to walk around in scrubs? Ask anyone here. I've worked here for 9 years." Stanton's expression didn't change. "That doesn't matter. You're coming with me to verify this." Andre's voice rose slightly. "I'm a doctor. I work here. I'm literally wearing my hospital ID." Stanton's tone turned cold, dismissive. "Buddy, at this point, I don't care. You are coming with me." The words hung in the air. "I don't care." She'd already decided. Andre looked directly at her. "Is it because I'm black that's why you don't care to even check my badge?" Stanton's face shifted, not with shame, but with something closer a confirmation. Her voice was cold. "Maybe. Go ahead and slowly turn around and put your hands behind your back." Andre looked around. Other staff members were stopping. A resident Andre had mentored, Dr. Lauren Hayes, approached quickly. "Dr. Bennett, what's happening?" Stanton pulled out her handcuffs. "Ma'am, step back. This doesn't concern you." "He's an attending physician," Dr. Hayes said firmly. "I work with him. You can't just handcuff him without cause." Deshaun Mitchell, the security supervisor, an older black man who'd worked at the hospital for 15 years, walked over quickly. "Officer, that's Dr. Bennett. He's been working here since before I started. What's the problem?" Stanton was surrounded now by people vouching for Andre, her assumption crumbling. But instead of apologizing, she completed what she'd started. "Turn around," she repeated, her voice harder now. The corridor went silent. Andre thought about his colleagues, his staff, now watching him be treated like a criminal based on nothing but Officer Stanton's admission. She'd said maybe it was because he was black, and she was handcuffing him anyway. "I'm complying under protest," Andre said clearly. "I am Andre Bennett, attending physician, emergency medicine. This is my workplace. This officer just admitted race is a factor in my detention, and everyone here is a witness." He turned around slowly. The handcuffs clicked shut. Dr. Hayes pulled out her phone and started recording. Deshaun Mitchell immediately radioed for the hospital administrator. Stanton walked Andre down the corridor toward the security office, one hand on his arm, his hands cuffed behind his back. They passed patients in the waiting area, visitors and staff members who stopped and stared in shock. By the time they reached the security office, the hospital administrator, Patricia Morales, was already there, her face pale with fury. She took one look at Andre in handcuffs and turned on Stanton. "What the hell do you think you're doing? That's Dr. Bennett, one of our attending physicians." "I was verifying his identity." "He's wearing hospital ID. His colleagues vouched for him. Take those handcuffs off right now," Morales pointed. Stanton hesitated, then unlocked the cuffs. "Dr. Bennett," Morales said, her voice shaking, "I am so deeply sorry. This should never have happened. We will be filing a formal complaint with the police department immediately." A police supervisor, Lieutenant Vincent Duca, arrived within minutes. He listened to Morales, watched the video Dr. Hayes had recorded, and spoke with the witnesses. Then he turned to Stanton, his face stone cold. "You detained a physician in his workplace while he was wearing full identification with multiple witnesses confirming his identity." "I was investigating a report." "What report?"
Show me the dispatch record. There was no formal report, Stanton admitted. A nurse mentioned seeing someone she didn't recognize. You arrested a doctor because a nurse mentioned seeing someone she didn't recognize? Do you understand what you've done? Duca turned to Andre. Dr. Bennett, you have my sincere apology. Officer Stanton will not be working in this hospital or any other again. He turned back to Stanton. Give me your badge and weapon. You're done for the night. Should officers face immediate suspension after detaining any professional in their workplace without cause? Let me know what you think. By the next morning, the story was national. Video from Dr. Hayes' phone showed the entire encounter. Black doctor handcuffed at his own hospital. The medical community erupted with outrage. Doctors across the country shared their own stories of being profiled in professional settings. Civil rights attorneys contacted Andre within hours. This was about the persistent assumption that black professionals must prove their legitimacy in ways white professionals never have to. The lawsuit named Officer Rebecca Stanton and the Seattle Police Department. The allegations were clear and damning: unlawful detention, racial profiling, violation of civil rights, and failure to train. The city's attorneys knew immediately this was indefensible. The city settled within 7 months for $2.4 million. Officer Rebecca Stanton was terminated 9 weeks after the incident. The termination letter was direct. Officer Stanton engaged in racial profiling and unlawful detention of a medical professional in his workplace. Her employment is terminated immediately. Stanton's name went into the National Decertification Index. Her law enforcement career ended permanently. The Seattle Police Department faced intense scrutiny. How had Stanton, with 7 prior complaints involving racial profiling of professionals, remained on patrol? Internal Affairs found predictable results: minimized complaints, ineffective training, and supervisors who didn't want to address uncomfortable truths about implicit bias. Dr. Andre Bennett testified at city council hearings and spoke at medical conferences. His message was consistent. I went to medical school. I completed residency. I've been practicing emergency medicine for 9 years. I've saved lives. I've earned every credential on my badge. And none of it protected me from being handcuffed in my own hospital because an officer couldn't believe a black man could be a doctor. He paused, his voice thick with emotion. My patients saw me in handcuffs. My students saw me treated like a criminal. My colleagues had to watch me be humiliated. And all of it happened because Officer Stanton's assumptions about who could and couldn't be a doctor were stronger than the evidence right in front of her eyes. This wasn't just a bad detention. This was a stark illustration of how racial bias operates. Even when credentials are clear, even when identification is visible, even when multiple witnesses confirm identity. Officer Rebecca Stanton didn't see a doctor. She saw a black man in a professional space and assumed he must be lying. She couldn't imagine that a black man could be an attending physician. Her bias was so embedded that she ignored hospital ID, dismissed colleague confirmation, and handcuffed a physician in front of patients. Systemic racism in policing extends into every space, including hospitals. It's the refusal to accept achievement when it doesn't match stereotypes. It's the weaponization of police authority to enforce who belongs in positions of respect and who doesn't. Rebecca Stanton's career is over. That's justice. The city paid $2.4 million. That's accountability. But money and terminations don't undo the trauma. The real question is, what changes now? Do departments finally understand that racial profiling happens in boardrooms and hospitals? Do they finally train officers to recognize that credentials are credentials, regardless of who holds them? Do they finally accept that questioning clearly identified professionals isn't vigilance, it's discrimination? Because if we don't fix the system that put Rebecca Stanton in a hospital with 7 complaints and no accountability, if we don't address the bias that taught her to see impersonation instead of achievement, then we're just waiting for the next officer, the next victim, the next doctor who has to prove he belongs in his own workplace. Comment if this should be mandatory. Any detention of a credentialed professional in their workplace triggers automatic review and suspension pending investigation. And if you believe these stories matter, if you think professionals of color deserve the work without being treated as suspects, then hit that subscribe button because we're going to keep exposing these patterns. We're going to keep demanding change. We're going to keep fighting for people who've earned their positions and shouldn't have to prove it to biased officers. This isn't just about one officer or one doctor. It's about all of us and the biases we're willing to challenge.